Tampa. You saw it. It feels more than just, well, it's Atlanta. It does feel like Tom Brady in the offense is kind of lubricated and gelling here a little bit. What did you see?
That's exactly what I saw, Colin. And when you talk to those guys within that locker room, specifically Tom, he knows what time it is. And he wasn't concerned about the regular season and how it looked optically to those outside of that locker room. This is exactly where they wanted to be, gelling at the right time. It took him time to really get a grip on the offensive verbiage and get comfortable within this offense. And we're seeing him more comfortable, him throwing the ball with more timing and rhythm. And then you get Antonio Brown and Gronkowski. They're starting to find their football legs. They've been removed from the game for so long. This team is coming together at the right time. Offensively, defensively, they were missing a few guys, and it showed. But Atlanta Falcons gave them a run for their money, and they came through and with a statement win.
You know, I got to ask you about I didn't like what Doug Peterson did. I thought he got caught in a lie. He said, I'm playing to win the game. Well, then you wouldn't go to your third-string quarterback. I mean, if the Packers in your prime were trying to win games, they wouldn't go to a third-string receiver and take you out. Now, if they wanted to argue we wanted to get Greg Jennings backup reps, that's fine, but that's not playing to win the game. As a former player, I just feel like hockey and football, you cannot take a play off. You lose locker rooms when you start looking ahead 6 months down the road. I didn't like it, and I never played the game. How did it sit with you?
I didn't mind it. I didn't like what he said afterwards. And I think that's what kind of made it a lot more skewed than what it should be. They didn't have anything to play for. However, you do want to play to win, but they have a quarterback situation, and he wanted to evaluate his quarterback. That is fine. Just say that, but don't say what you just alluded to. Oh, we're still playing to win. Yeah, you want to win the game, but the likelihood of you realistically believing you're going to win, playing your third string guy, getting him reps that he hadn't had all year pretty much, you're not really playing to win. You're not giving your team the best chance that puts them in position to be successful. And that's where the problem lies. And so I don't think he owed, I heard Nick Wright this morning, I don't think he owed the Giants anything, but he does owe it to his players to be honest and forthright and just let them know, look, guys, we have a quarterback situation. We're trying to evaluate all talent, everyone, including himself.
Yeah. So there's always been this little, you would think, I know in March Madness for years, you think, oh, the teams that are hot will do really well in March Madness. And the history shows it's just not true. You go into March Madness, it's a whole different style of basketball, and there's a lot of pressure on favorites. So in the playoffs, you would think, well, Baltimore's hot, and Green Bay is hot, and Tom Brady is hot, and Tennessee can't get its defense together. And I've seen that. And then you go into the playoffs, and it's like, okay, all the veterans play with more intensity. The young guys shrink a little bit. So you tell me, in your NFL career with Green Bay, did playing well week 16, 17 matter? Did you ever struggle at the end of a year and catch fire? What does it mean to be hot at the end, if anything?
It does mean something. It means something to be playing really well and gelling at the right time. The Giants did it for years. They would struggle throughout the beginning of the regular season and then come on strong late. And we did it the year we won the Super Bowl. We got in the week 17 against the Chicago Bears, and we went on the road as a wild card team and won the Super Bowl because we gelled at the right time. So I think it does matter. But however, more than that, it's who you're facing. It's matchups. It's the opponent that you're matched up with. And sometimes you just get matched up with, just like in the seedings of NCAA tournament, it's not a good matchup. It doesn't matter what the records are. Sometimes matchup wise, it just doesn't suit the number one team or the lower ranked team. And that's where things can kind of go awry. And so I think it is important for teams to be hot. Green Bay is very hot. Kansas City is not. They're hobbling into the postseason, which is a concern for guys like me who've done that, who've been 15-1 and struggled the first round or the first game that we saw against the Giants after getting that bye. It makes a difference how you enter into the postseason.
You know, it's Joy said something earlier that Justin Herbert was so good so fast that it reset the clock on Tua. That you're like, well, wait a minute, Tua, you come on, you look, and I watch Tua, and I see Sunday, and you put him juxtaposed with Josh Allen, bigger, stronger, arm, confidence. Miami's got a number 3 pick. I mean, where do you sit with Tua today after that was the biggest NFL game of his career? They've got the defense, special teams, and it just didn't look good. Where are you today with Tua?
Well, there are questions that need to be answered, and I was hoping that he was able to answer some of them. And listening to Joy, she touched on a lot of what I was saying even last week entering into this game. He had an opportunity to just let it all hang out. Look, you have nothing to lose. Push the ball downfield, put threats and put defenses in a position to where they have to guard beyond 10 yards. And that's something that's concerning because we all know offensively, you can't it is so hard to methodically dink and dunk and get 5 and 6 yards and go to 10 to 14-yard drives every single possession. It's almost virtually impossible. You have to win with chunk plays, explosive plays. How does that look? Getting the ball downfield. And that's something that Tua, we saw him do it at Alabama. And that's what's so alarming to me. He can do it. He's just not comfortable. He's not confident right now in his ability. And then you look at Josh Allen, who he was going up against. His confidence is through the roof to where his belief is just like automatic. Yeah. I know I got this. Yeah. I know who I am, and it's showing.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Josh Allen is he's like a basketball player who's hit 4 straight threes. He's taking bad ones. He doesn't even care what it looks like. Finally, I do think it's significant. I think Lambeau Field, Aaron Rodgers may be a California kid, but he looks very comfortable in cold weather. There is something about Lambeau. It gets darker and colder over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And I do think it plays with your head if you're a dome team like New Orleans. I think it go back to your career because Green Bay is playing really well right now. Did you ever face a team and think to yourself, oh, Lambeau's in their head. This weather's in their head?
Of course. You can look at when teams come out in the pregame. It's happened to us. If guys who play in the cold, I remember the 13-3 year we had where the Bears end up beating us. And I mean, they beat us bad. Soldier Field, we ended up facing the Giants and we lost to them in the NFC Championship game in 08 or 07. And they came out pregame, they were all sleeves. We came out pre-games, we were no sleeves, and then we were freezing. We went back in, they come out, Colin, and none of them had sleeves on. We knew right then they beat us. It was mental. And so you talk about a team that plays indoors, and I've been on the sideline with an older quarterback, Brett Favre, and he admitted to being cold and it impacting him. And when I look at Drew Brees, they don't want Tom Brady. He's mentioned, you're not going to catch me living in the Northeast anymore or up north. Like, they don't want to be in those climates. But the difference is Tom Brady has found this idea of, and he said Bill Belichick taught him this, where you got 3 hours. 3 hours. Forget practice. You got 3 hours in one opportunity every time you step on that field for 3 hours to just give me everything you can as best as you can. And so, but you can't attest and you can't account for that weather. And when it's cold and it's not going right, it quickly goes south. Yeah. And that's the concern I have for Drew Brees and the Saints and Tom Brady and the Bucks going into Lambeau.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point with New Orleans and Brees, and it just, not that I'm old or anything, but you creak a little more when you get that.
Just a little bit.
When that 5 is the first number in your age, I can attest to that. Greg Jennings, buddy, great seeing you. You do a great job on the games. Thanks so much, man.
I appreciate it. Happy New Year to you guys.
Same to you. I have actually a theory, and I have a lot of theories, and many are wrong, but I have a theory on why Tua is struggling. I want you to hear me out. You won't hear this anywhere else, and I may be wrong. Trent Dilfer's on next hour. He can listen to it too. I have a theory on Tua and what he needs and why he is playing so safe. That's coming up. A year ago, I wouldn't consider myself a boot guy, cowboy boot guy, but Tecovas sort of changes the way you think. Check out their men's and women's Western boots, handmade, timelessly styled, and at Tecovas, they are comfortable right out of the box. We're all hoping for a better 21, excuse me. And a lot of compliments when you wear Tecovas boots, okay? Heading to the office, going out for a cocktail, perfect pair of Tecovas for every occasion. Also, free shipping, overnight, right to your door, free returns, free exchanges, if that's what you're looking for. You don't have to be shy about pulling the trigger on a new pair. Tecovas, Austin, Texas base, handmade in Mexico. They're in no hurry other than to create great quality. Here's to a new year, and here's to new boots. Stop by Tecovas.com, Tecovas, Tecovas.com, or find a Tecovas retail